Hey everybody, Gage here from Sharp. Super excited to have you with me for another testing out video. In today's episode, we are taking a look at the Moritaka Hamono knives. We just got a restock of these guys recently. We have all the flavors in stock: Petty 130, Honesuki 150, Bunka 180, Nakiri 180, Gyuto in 210 and 240. All of which are made from Aogami Super with an iron cladding and this beautiful Kurouchi finish. Walnut handles with black packawood ferrule on them, octagonal in shape, so suitable for righties and lefties. You may have seen the short video that we posted about these recently where I talked about how this was like my first real Japanese knife, so Moritaka Hamono has a special place in my heart. The thing that initially attracted me to Moritaka's knives were how thin they are at the spine and the geometry behind the edge. I got a ton of use out of my Moritaka working in a professional kitchen. I used it a lot for doing like brunoise shallot and garlic and stuff like that. I loved how flat the profiles on them were and continue to be. So that's what initially attracted me to them. Also, the Aogami Super is heat treated really well, so you get great edge retention on these guys. So yeah, let's put them through their paces and let's see how they do. I haven't used one in a little while here. I no longer own the Moritaka that I first bought, or I do, but it's just a different. It was once this, and now looks more like a petty knife. So I don't use it as much as I used to, but I do remember that cutting green onions with one of these guys was a blast. So let's see what happens here. And just like I remember, these guys are freaking sweet. Lots of knives claim to have flat profiles. Moritaka really does have like some of the flattest profiles I've ever seen. Oh, I got a little straggler here, but yeah, like this thing is like crazy flat. You really don't have to, you know, just struggle with this guy too much to get stuff like scallions done. I used to love doing scallions with this thing. Yeah, fantastic. Maybe not like they're obviously a little bit rustic. Like they don't have the most polished spines and choils and stuff like that. But I guess a lot of people like put a lot of emphasis on that. I never really seem to notice the polish of the spine or choil myself. So yeah, it doesn't bother me on these guys at all. I do find that Moritakas can be a little bit finicky in terms of their maintenance. You have to like really, you know, wipe them down and keep them dry and clean and stuff. The knife's not gonna lie, right? If it's rusting, it's because it's at some point, whether during use or during storage, is coming in contact with some moisture. So yeah, we really got to make sure we keep these guys dry, clean, wiped down immediately after use, all that stuff. Try the bell pepper here. I have not sharpened this guy at all. I touched it up on I gave it a little stropping before we started here. Yeah, but look at that, man. Or woman. Whoever happens to be watching. I was telling Jake before we got set up to film here that Moritakas don't get me as fired up as they used to. But I'm really enjoying this a lot. This is awesome. You know, we only get one shipment of these a year, so, and it happens to usually be around Christmas time. So we get them in, they sell out pretty quick usually, and then we don't have them for the majority of the year. So I guess I just, you know, I just forgot how awesome these things were. This thing's doing amazing. Why don't we switch up to the old Gyuto for the rest of the veggies that we're going to do here. I'm not going to test all of these knives, unfortunately. We're going to do the Nakiri and the 210 Gyuto. Jake also made a funny point before we started shooting that like all of Moritaka's knives basically have the exact same profile on them. They just are slightly different shaped tips or lengths. So like the Nakiri and the Bunka, basically they have the exact same profile on it, like frickin' flat. But I guess the Nakiri is a little bit taller, and then the Bunka's got the more aggressively shaped tip on it. But yeah, like during use, I personally don't find that there's a ton of difference in how they feel. Okay, on the note of wiping them down, I forgot to bring a towel, so I'm gonna go grab that and then we'll start cutting up with the Gyuto. All right, here we are with a tomato. And yeah. How could I ever have doubted Moritaka Hamono, hey? I don't know where I'm going with my waist here. I'm going into all four corners, apparently. The Ring of Fire. Yeah, these things go through like bell peppers, tomato skin so easy. It feels fantastic. I've definitely been kind of like all over the place lately in terms of like what I like and what I want. I used to be like all about the super flat profiles, and then I kind of switched up my tune a little bit. I was kind of enjoying the more curvy stuff for a little while, and now using this guy, I'm kind of like back on the super flat train here. I would say if you are considering a Moritaka and you're more of a rock chopper kind of person, not that they're bad at rock chopping, but they definitely are not the most comfortable rock choppers in the world. If you want a really comfortable rock chopper knife that's similar to a Moritaka, I would go with a either a Kurouchi or one of the Hatsukokoro Kurouchi series. Yeah, either the stabilized birch ones, or no, actually not the stabilized birch ones, kind of feel similar to the Moritaka. The other ones, the Kumokages, they have a bit more belly on them. So if you're looking for like an ironclad Kurouchi knife for rock chopping, that's where I would go. However, I know I just said I've been kind of more after the rock choppy stuff. I definitely am more of like a push and pull type chopper. So the Moritakas were when I was working professionally, and continue to be sort of more up my alley in a general sense. Yeah, I really like these guys a lot. I was coming into this kind of like a little bit anxious. I'm like kind of thinking like, oh, how are these guys gonna do? We've been getting in some really amazing stuff lately, and yeah, like I said, I should not have doubted Moritaka. They make fantastic stuff. Yeah, and look at that. That was sweet. That was one of the nicer onion dices I've done in a really long time. Look at that. No stuck together pieces whatsoever. Normally, I find I kind of like I kind of forget to sit the heel down sometimes when I'm going through an onion, and I'll get little stuck together pieces on the side closest to me. Nothing there. Perfect dice, if I do say so myself. As perfect as I can do. Really happy with that. Okay, we're gonna get this out of the way, save these for later. Oh, that's a perfectly good onion. And then we'll do our sweet potato last. The sweet potato is the test I am most worried about with these guys. Moritakas, if you're unaware, have a Scandi grind on them, which is a little bit different from a normal Japanese knife. Most Japanese knives have more of like a concave grind on them. So what does that mean? Well, it just means that they kind of get thick pretty quick behind the edge, but they thick relative to the rest of the blade. Like these guys are still super thin. Okay, sweet potato test on the Moritaka. Yo, dude.
You doubted the Moritaka.
Man, this is wild. I was hoping that it would perform well. I was expecting it to perform decently. This thing is like amazing. And I think the other thing that the Scandi grind is awesome for is the food release, right? Because it is a little bit more aggressive, it kind of like makes the it kind of makes the vegetable kind of like fall off a little bit, so it never really feels very sticky. Man, this is crazy.
Forgot your roots, kid.
I forgot my roots. Oh no, no roots. Ooh. That was nice, but definitely not like the nicest. It's definitely a little wedgy.
Yeah.
It's a little crunchy, a little
You can see
wedgy.
the chunks coming
Yeah,
out
it's
on
getting a little rippy there, but like, which is surprising because why did it go through that so well? Did I not? I don't know. Like, it's.
Is it just really hard sweet?
Maybe. I don't know. It's so funny, eh? Because why did it go through? Because we were doing arguably even. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I went through the entire thing this way. So strange. I don't know why it's doing that on this. Maybe I'm not using enough lateral motion.
We've got videos for that.
Yeah, so when I like really focus on pushing the knife through, it doesn't give me that noise. And it's crazy sharp. It's going through the sweet potato, no problem. Okay, let's do some, all confused here. Let's do some julienne real quick. Wow, yeah, that's like one of the nicer feeling sweet potato juliennes I've done in a long time. I shouldn't say in a long time. I don't know. I've been like I said, I've been like super impressed with all the knives we've been getting in lately. I feel very fortunate to have the relationships we do with the knife makers that we do. Like I am like genuinely excited about every single knife that we get into the store these days, which is a really cool feeling. Yeah, man, that was awesome. Okay, well, that concludes our video on the Moritaka Aogami Super Kurouchi series, newly restocked on our website. Check them out at sharpknifeshop.com. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Take care. Stay sharp.